You're listening to The Silver Stoner Show.
Hola, dudes, dudettes, trans dudes, trans dudettes, and whatever flavor you choose to assign yourself. Here we are today. I'm Uncle Herb. Next to me is my colleague and co-host, the lovely and talented Bethany, and this is The Silver Stoner Show. Okay, as always, we'll put the 5 tenets of what it means to be a stoner, at least in our definition, and what it really comes down to is, it's your life, baby, live it, and stop trying to live anybody else's, but be open to everybody else. That's what it really condenses down to. And oh, by the way, when faced with a choice, the best choice is no choice. That's what, that's, if you learn nothing else from listening to this every day, just remember, when you come today to some decision, someone's annoyed you and you feel like you have to retaliate or you feel like you have to answer something, or you feel like you have to do something that you just feel like you have to, don't. Okay? Just don't and see what happens. Let the natural flow of events. You're going to find out that 999 times out of 1,000, it'll just fix itself and with no side effects. Most people just forget. It just kind of goes away. How much simpler would life be if we learned to just let it go away? Anyway, let's get to the Silver Stoner news and commentary because, we'll just see where it goes. My first story today, and by the way, as you know here, if you've been here before, and if you don't know, I'll just share this with you. We don't do, like Fox and CNN. We don't play politics. We're just going to talk about stoner news, which is like not always cannabis, but stuff that makes us feel good and enjoy our life and like expand our horizons. And so with that in mind, I want to point out that the Girl Scouts, and I don't know why this is, to me, this is the worst side effect of COVID-19 that I've heard of. The Girl Scouts have 15 million boxes of cookies still unsold. Now, I don't know if that's because I read some stuff about people trying to cancel the Girl Scouts and maybe it worked. I don't know. And I don't even know why they were canceling the Girl Scouts, but whatever the reason might, or if it's just COVID-19, I don't know. But you can ship Girl Scouts, send the stale Thin Mints to me. If they're in fear of going stale, all you need to do is ship them to me. I will buy a freezer. I'll buy a room full of freezers because they're so good frozen.
Yeah. Girl Scout cookies are the shit.
Which is your favorite?
The peanut butter ones.
What are those? Yeah, they have a name. What are those things called?
Peanut butter crunch or something.
I don't know. No, they have a much more clever name.
I don't know.
Do you have access to Google over there, Tech Mastery?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
I want to know, what is the name of the Girl Scout peanut butter cookie? It has a clever name, and I like it too. But I'm having a senior moment. But yeah, how could there be 15 million unsold?
Because no Girl Scout cookies, they weren't selling them, and it takes the girls to sell the cookies. That's the only way that they sell the cookies is through the girls, and there was no girls during this pandemic that would go door to door. They wouldn't go to the store. Yeah.
So what are they going to do with all these cookies? I say we worked with the Girl Scouts for a Silver Stoner Thin Mint giveaway. What's the name of the peanut butter ones? Have you found it yet?
I have the list of everyone. Okay.
Okay. What are the name of the
cookies? They have a Toasty Yay, Thin Mints, Lemon Ups, Lemonades, Shortbread, Caramel Delights, peanut butter patties.
Those are good.
Those are like the ones that have a little layer of peanut butter on them with the little chocolate, little crispy Reese's.
I get like 3 boxes of those.
Oh, okay. Okay, that works for me. What else?
And last one is the Doso Dos peanut butter sandwich.
I don't think I've had those.
I don't think that Doso Dos?
Dosey Dos.
Dosey Dos.
Dosey Dos.
Dosey Do. Okay, listen, I don't know.
Most of the time when I go to get Girl Scout cookies, there's like 2 or 3 options.
I always buy them in front of Safeway. Because now I realize it. You're right, no tables. They usually have them, you know how you can't get out of the store?
Yeah.
And you can't say no to a cute little Girl Scout.
Well, you can't say no to Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, well, both. But I always overbuy because they're so cute. Because, I raised 2 daughters, and and so I buy enormous amounts of these things.
There's more.
There's more? Wait,
so we have
else?
a Toffee Tasty, the caramel chocolate chip, the Girl Scout s'mores, and the Girl Scout s'mores, I guess, version 2.
I knew there was a marshmallow one.
That must be the s'more, right?
That one's good.
I love s'mores. I love everything. Let's think of a food that we don't like. What is your least favorite food?
My least favorite food is Nutella. Isn't that sad?
Get the fuck out of Dodge. You don't
I know,
love Nutella?
right? That's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, so I had never tried Nutella. So when Chloe, my youngest daughter, was a sophomore in high school, going into her junior year, I sent her to live for a semester in France.
Mm-hmm.
And it was through one of those foreign exchange program study league things.
Right.
And so she went to a city called Angers. It looks like it's spelled like anger, A-N-G-E-R, but it's pronounced Angers. It's 50 miles southwest of Paris. And it's famous just because that's where they make Cointreau liquor, okay, the orange liqueur. Why they make it in Angers, France, don't know.
Why not?
Don't know. I've only used it as a mixer. Don't really know. But it is good over ice cream, by the way. Cointreau over vanilla ice cream, delish. Okay. So what was the point I'm telling this story? What were we? Oh, what were we on?
It was about cookie.
What was I on?
Least favorite, Nutella.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nutella. That's where we were. I completely got into Chloe world.
He got
stoned to begin
he got
with.
higher.
I'm a little high to begin with, to be honest. So, and can you see my bloodshot eyes? I don't know.
No.
Anyway,
They were bloodshot for just a second earlier.
I get stoner eyes. My daughter, Chloe, gets it for hours. But, we were always open about our stoning, so she was never in trouble. Okay, so anyway, Nutella. So she lived with this wonderful family, and she has this French sister who is still her sister to this day. And Chloe's now 26, yada, yada, yada. Now, the point of this whole story was I had never tried Nutella. And when she came home, she turned me on. Oh, no. That was it. Her French sister and her French sister's girlfriend came over to visit us. I took them on a tour of the Southwest, of the Grand Canyon, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And they had a thing, the French girls had a thing for McDonald's pancakes. Okay? They called it McDonald's. And no matter when I would tell them, like we were like in Winslow, Arizona, or wherever that town is that's close to the Grand Canyon. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it was Winslow, it's another one that's close. Anyway, and we were going to, down the street, and we're staying in a motel that was there, I think it was a Holiday Inn Express or something. And I said, where do you girls want to eat? And across the street was McDonald's. When we were in Las Vegas staying at nice hotels, McDonald's. And what they always wanted to eat was pancakes, because they just don't get those kind of pancakes in France. But anyway, they were smearing the Nutella. Okay, Nutella, then I'm an addict. In fact, I have to keep it out of it's good on everything. How do you not love chocolate hazelnut spread?
It's hazelnut. For some reason, I just can't stand hazelnut.
So Nutella,
and something, I might not be a fan of chocolate that much because I don't like mocha either. So like chocolate and coffee, no.
You don't like mocha either?
No.
You're not a coffee drinker.
I am a coffee drinker. I love coffee. I'll drink it black.
I think I've even bought you a coffee. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah. So you'll drink coffee black, but you don't like the flavor of
chocolate.
Mocha.
No. With my coffee.
You might be the only person, let alone woman, certainly woman.
I'm a weirdo.
But certainly person that I've ever met. Feel free, and you comment below, that didn't love chocolate and coffee together. It's like. My favorite
thing. My girlfriend.
Yeah?
Yeah, she hates it.
Get out.
No, I'm serious.
Well, then you belong together.
We do.
When's the marriage? I mean, no, seriously. Somehow you found each other. You might be the only two women I've ever even heard of. I know this isn't a lesbian thing because I've had plenty of gay friends and lesbian friends who like chocolate. What's it?
My cousin, he hates chocolate in general. Like, he won't eat it.
Guys doesn't. It's really?
Guys don't count? Why?
No, not with chocolate.
Everybody's taste palette is different.
I guess. But I don't... Okay. That's not my least favorite food.
What is your least favorite food?
Brussels sprouts.
Okay.
I texturally can't handle them. It's just weird. They're weird to me.
I've tried them, and on like different kinds of ways, like you can cook them and stuff. No.
Now, by the way, I named Brussels sprouts as food that anybody could find at any store. The really worst thing I've ever tasted, and I'm not sure if I tasted it because the smell was so horrible. I was watching one of those Andrew Zimmern programs on the Food Network, Bizarre Foods, or I don't know if it was on the Travel Channel. I think he did it on the Travel Channel, but it's not important. So he would travel around the world and eat anything that the locals ate, and some of it was really bizarre. Well, in Asia, they have this fruit called the durian. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Okay. So he made a big deal of how repulsive this fruit was, and I am a fruitaholic. Like, if you went to my apartment right now, I've got peaches, nectarines, cherries, and apples all in my crisper drawers that I've properly ripened, and If anything, I overeat fruit. Okay.
You would love the ranch I grew up on. It has
Full of trees?
275 orchard. So there's 275 trees.
I love tree fruit. It doesn't even matter which one it is. I can't think of a one I wouldn't love.
All kinds. My mom has pears, Asian pears. Have you had Asian pears?
Yep. Well, see, my family was in the produce business. So when I grew up, do you know that I didn't know people ate canned or frozen fruits or vegetables until I was a teenager? Because in our house, because my family was in the fresh fruit produce business, it was really funny. You remember how kids always think, and I'm not changing the subject, you know how literal kids think. Mm-hmm. So my stepfather would say, he'd come home with like a box of persimmons. Like I grew up eating persimmons. Who eats persimmons? By the way, they're delicious. Okay? I thought it was routine. I thought everybody ate persimmons. And when I would ask him, where did these come from? He said they fell off the truck. I literally thought down at the produce yards, that's what they called the area where all the trucks went. I thought that there was like boxes falling off. And my stepfather was, he of course was stealing the produce. But okay, whatever. I didn't like him to begin with. But it was great produce. Okay, and like I grew up eating cassava melons and cranshaws and fresh figs, not dried figs, fresh figs. I mean, I had a really diverse, and I didn't know the first time I ate a canned or different, I gagged. It was canned asparagus. It was the worst. It was the worst shit. I remember it was so gross. It was so stringy and gross. And I thought when I saw, it's not like I didn't go shopping with my mother, and I saw like canned corn. I thought it was for fishing. I thought they sold that crap so when you went to the lake, you could go catch trout with the corn. I didn't know people ate that shit. Not when there's corn on the cob sitting there.
You tried the worst one, too. Canned asparagus.
Yeah, it's slime. I've never tried canned okra. I don't even know if there is such a thing, but okra could be the slimiest thing God ever created.
I don't like okra.
And canned asparagus is nasty.
It's nasty.
Very.
It is nasty.
By the way, back to durian fruit. The reason I didn't name it as my least favorite thing is because who the hell eats durian fruit? But I went down to an Asian market and I found the durian fruit and I brought it home and I cut it, and it smells like death.
Yeah.
It smells exactly like the bodies I smelled at war. I swear to God.
And you can't get past the smell.
Once you've smelled death, you've smelled a durian fruit. And then I attempted to put it in my mouth, but it was so, and the texture was so weird. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get to the swallow. But see, I didn't name it as my least favorite thing because who the hell's going to eat a durian fruit, right?
No.
But canned asparagus, I would say, fuck no, don't do it. Who buys who eats canned asparagus? Obviously someone or Green Giant wouldn't put it on the shelves. And I'm not like getting down on companies that do it. I mean, if there's a demand, you have to supply it. But like, who eats it? And what do you put it in?
Not me, and that's a good question.
And there are frozen alternatives that aren't bad, like peas.
Frozen asparagus isn't bad.
No, and I'm a big Trader Joe guy. In fact, I'm going to head there right after the show today. And, I buy, because as a single man, I never, it'll go bad on me. And so frozen peas are a big fave of mine. Mm-hmm. They're great both for eating and if you, cut yourself or bruise yourself. They're really the best thing in the world to press up against the wound. Seriously. They really are.
100% agree with you.
And, and they taste great, but I don't get the canned thing, like canned peas.
I've never tried canned peas.
They're mush.
Well, probably. Asparagus.
They come out whole, but it's like pre-digested for you.
I think the only thing I regularly would eat out of a can vegetable-wise is corn. Tomatoes, no?
Good Italian tomatoes I use for sauce. Like the San Marino tomatoes that come in the yellow can. Okay, that are high-quality Italian imported. Seriously, there's no reason for you to have to blanch and peel tomatoes. Those San Marino tomatoes are like great. But that would be my only one. And the corn I fish with. I mix it into my trout and carp bait when I take my grandson fishing. I'm not eating. I eat real corn. And by the way, Safeway this weekend, I just got my weekly ad, is you get 1 cent ears after you spend $50. So you can get the 7 ears of corn for a penny each if you spend $50 and everything else. Is that a great deal? I'm going for it.
That's a deal.
I'm going for it. I'm going to get over there. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next story. I think we beat the shit out of food. Send me the Girl Scout cookies. All right. So this is going to sound like a good story, but it's really a terrible story. And this is I bring it up because this is like my pet peeve. So California, the state of California is giving, by the way, whenever a politician says they're going to give you something, God only knows what strings are attached to this gift, right? I mean, I really don't know. And by the way, the people who accept this gift won't know until it's too late and they'll be ensnared in it, okay? Because the government gives you nothing without trying to control you at the same time, okay? So, but evidently the legal marijuana industry is struggling to compete with the illicit pot, illicit is the fancy word for illegal, pot market. And it's been 5 years after the voters approved sales for recreational use. Let me tell you why this is. Because no state is really legalizing. They're sort of legalizing. If you're gonna legalize something, God damn it, legalize it. No one can die of pot overdose. There's no need to control how much or anything else. You can let the free market do it, right? People can go to the dispensary. Like today, when I get done, I'm going to go by the dispensary and I'm going to get a couple of things of flower. And I know pretty much I'm an experienced donor. I know what strains I like. I know what growers I like. I buy mid-shelf personally. I don't really ever see the benefit in top shelf. Whatever. But that's the great thing. But if it were legal, it would all be so cheap.
Right.
And they're surcharging the recreational people in our state of Arizona 30%, something like even more. On top of that, which is, I'll tell you why the illegal pot industry is there. The same reason it was there before they did any legalization, because it's a lot cheaper to buy from a dealer.
Yeah. I was actually just talking about that with a friend. They tax the marijuana, but they do it in two different ways now, because you've got the recreational marijuana and then you have the medical marijuana. And then
Which is exactly the same marijuana.
Yeah, exactly the same. You're just getting a different price for it.
It's exactly the same. Let's say that there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers that love to grow their own pot, and they restrict how many plants you can have. So if you have 20 plants, you're going to prison. You can only have 6 plants. Like what? Who arbitrarily decided that? Why?
I don't know. I didn't know you could only have 5 grams. You can only purchase 5 grams from the dispensary as a recreational.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Why? And think about this, folks. You can go to the liquor store and buy scotch till it's coming out of your fucking
ears. Could buy out the liquor store.
Right. If you had the money for it, you can go in there and buy all the booze you want.
Yeah.
You buy like 2 gallons of scotch and drink it fast. Watch that Nicolas Cage movie with Elizabeth, whatever the hell her name was, where he drinks himself to death in Las Vegas. Leaving Las Vegas, that was the name of the movie. You can kill yourself with about 2 gallons of scotch, literally drink yourself to death. You can smoke all the pot in the world. You're not going to smoke yourself to death. Why are they restricting the supply of pot? The worst things that happen if you smoke too much pot is you fall asleep or get the spins.
I think it's the money. I think it's the money that they're making off of it.
They're so stupid because they don't understand the most simple. There's a concept in business. Let me share this with you. Here's a little business lesson. Feed the rich, live with the poor. Feed the poor, live with the rich. In other words, the person who owns wherever you're living, your local McDonald's state franchise or city franchise, and McDonald's typically, the guys who own one store will own 10 or 12. That person, when I say guy, male or female, that person is richer than the most fancy steakhouse in town, I promise you, or restaurant. They make much more money selling hamburgers than they do steaks. Okay, it's just much less labor intensive. You can deliver the product much less expensively. And you sell a lot more. So the reason he's richer is he's selling, for every steak that the expensive steakhouse sells, he's selling 1,000 hamburgers, right? Mm-hmm. So the state would collect more tax if they just said, you know what? When you sell weed to someone else, you got to charge sales tax. Okay, have a license for that. But then you can go down and get the Stripe app onto your tablet, and you can be a weed dealer without a. Why are we restricting competition? I don't understand it. If you're growing good weed at home and you want to sell it to a friend, as long as you're paying sales tax on that transaction, okay, and no one's going to mind paying that as long as they're not grossly overpaying for all that other shit for the weed, the 30% surcharge and all that other crap. Mm-hmm. The reason these bureaucrats just don't fucking get it. If you're going to legalize, and then let anybody be a weed dealer. And, what'll happen is some will get really great at it, some will be really sucky at it, but no one's going to get hurt from the weed. That's the point. And, right, you can get a credit card swiping app from Stripe. I'm sure there are others. Are there others, Tech Mastery?
Yeah, there's others.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyone can process debits or credit cards. Like, what the fuck?
I agree. It's
so stupid.
It's ridiculous.
And I get a newsletter every day full of, Louisiana's about to go medically legal and Alabama is going recreationally legal. I might have reversed that, but anyway, I get the updates on what's going on all the time. Like, this is so dumb. The federal government, and I normally prefer the states. The feds ought to just legalize it, call it a day, no regulation, just like liquor, have a good time. And
let us smoke our weed in peace. Nobody's getting hurt.
And if we buy some shit weed from some dealer, we'll not go back to that dealer. The free market regulates that.
Right? I've bought many weeds from many shit dealers.
And you came out with buying weed is like buying fruit. It's a gamble, right? It's like, seriously,
It's not as bad as buying mangoes. Have you ever noticed that mangoes is like a hit or miss?
So here's the trick on mangoes from the produce man's son. Okay.
I say watermelon is the same thing.
Watermelon is just a fucking gamble. So the only way to buy watermelon is you have to hope the store has cut one in half and left it out with the saran wrap on it. That is the only way to have any idea what's going on inside a watermelon. Mm-hmm. However, for mangoes, here's your fruit ripening tip. For basically all fruit, but mangoes buy the mangoes, take them home, put them in a paper bag with a banana. Now, the gas that ripens fruit is called ethylene gas. This is why, if you ever are in a Trivial Pursuit tournament, you want me on your team. I know more random shit that absolutely comes in handy in the weirdest moments like this. Okay, so the gas given off by fruit is called ethylene gas. Okay, it's a natural thing. It's completely healthy. The reason fruit ripens when you contain it in a container is because you're trapping the ethylene. But heavy-skinned fruits like mangoes don't give off a lot of ethylene, but bananas, and apples too, by the way. If you don't have bananas, apples are a good secondary choice, give off shit tons of it. So if you put them in the bag with the mangoes, it'll just make them ripen, and they'll all be good. Give them a couple of days in the bag. With the banana. When the banana starts looking like you need to make banana bread out of it because it's too ripe, that's when the mangoes are ready.
Okay.
Or mango, as the case might be.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm a mango person, but if you're a mongo, okay, right? So, on to the next story.
Yes, sir.
Mystery is waving a sign. Okay, on to the next story. So, social justice warrior pet owners are feeding their pets insect-based food to battle climate change. Now, look, first of all, as I wrote down in my notes, you just can't make this shit up. This is for real.
How is it battling climate change?
Well, here you go. I actually read this fucking article. So here's the logic of the SJWs, who, by the way, am concerned about climate change. However, I don't believe in spending my life virtue signaling over it and like shitting on everybody else's parade because of what I think. Because you might think something else, right? I mean, we're open-minded people. So, having said that, cattle fart methane gas, which is a huge, and this is really true. Mm-hmm. It is true that if we were to slaughter all the cattle on Earth, which I am not suggesting, and replace it by eating the other red meat, which is ostrich, by the way, I'm not making this up, we would solve climate change.
Ostrich?
Or emu.
Do people eat ostrich?
Have you ever tried it? No, yeah, you can buy it in the store. Have you ever tried it?
No, I've never tried it.
You have to go to a real butcher shop for this, because I don't think grocery stores are going to stock emu. But if you go to some of the butcher shops, even around Phoenix, and I'm sure around wherever you're living too.
And you can order it, right?
Yeah, you can order it. Emu is a red meat that looks like really lean beef. Okay? It's very lean. It's very healthy. It's not laced with all the fat. Now, obviously that means when you cook it, you have to have certain ways of doing it and breaking it down and so on and so forth and pounding the shit out of it or tender, whatever. But, and we're not doing a cooking show here, right? But it tastes great. Okay? If the whole world really got out, but cheaper to feed, doesn't eat corn, you can feed it all kinds of other stuff. It's really makes all the sense in the world, and they don't fart methane. Birds don't fart methane. Cows do. So that's the logic behind this thing. If you get them off of cows and other animals to a lesser extent, anything that processes as food like a sheep, they fart methane. Okay, and there's a lot of land-based dog foods and so on and so forth. So the idea is to get animals off of eating other animals that fart and getting them into insects that don't fart.
Okay.
Okay, because farts are certainly not cause. That would be incorrect. I don't want to be one of these simplistic assholes who try to tell you that there's one thing that causes everything. Part of the climate change issue is, in fact, the farting of herd beasts. By the way, here's an interesting trivia question. What is the number one red meat eaten in the world? And I'll give you a hint, it's not cattle.
Oh. I don't know.
Goat.
Goat?
More goat is eaten than beef.
Okay. I've tried goat.
Yeah. When I was stationed in San Angelo, Texas at the Air Force School of Applied Cryptologic Sciences back before electricity, I tried goat in a local Mexican restaurant. It was great. Since that time, I've eaten it both in Mexican restaurants and Indian restaurants. Some Indian restaurants make it really well, too, that I found. And I like it. But I like lamb, too. You got to like it.
80% of the world consumes insects.
Yeah, well, I'm not one of them, and I'm not feeding it to my fucking dog, which brings me to the second add-on story, a cicada pizza. So the FDA, and I reported this last week, the FDA has approved the eating of cicadas as shrimp, basically, as seafood. Evidently, that's what they taste like. But as Samuel L. Jackson famously said in like one of my top 5 films of all time, Pulp Fiction, sewer rat might taste like pumpkin pie, but I'll never know because I wouldn't eat the filthy motherfucker. Okay? That is kind of how I feel about cicada.
I'm with you.
Okay. So, by the way, that was the best line ever.
That was.
Remember when John Travolta was trying to get him to eat pork, and Samuel Jackson says, "I don't eat pork," and that anyway.
Well, I've tried cicada.
Yeah, and
it's not that bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it
probably isn't
not that bad.
And I do admit to you that I was down in Oaxaca, Mexico, and I ate a Mexican flatbread pizza that had, I forget what they called them. I called them gribbonis. That's not the word. Like little deep fried grasshoppers all over it. And it was crunchy and it was good.
Yeah,
it was. But look, that's the food of poor people. Oaxaca is the poorest state in Mexico.
I don't think it's so 80% of the world consumes
80% of the world is poor as shit.
Well, okay.
Let's be honest.
But I mean, it's a good sense of protein, and they do have nutritional value, and it is a good thing to know that you can consume bugs.
You may consume them.
No, I'm not going to. I'm just saying.
We live in a wealthy country, thank God. Okay. And we can eat anything we want. I will not feed that to either, certainly not my baby Pepper, the most beautiful Airedale Terrier in the world, and the only girl that I truly love. Well, I do love my daughters, but not, I don't know, Pepper. No, I'm joking, although she does not.
Did you hear the voice inflection when we were really getting into Pepper?
Yeah.
I have a weird relationship with my dog. Not over the line of that kind of weird, just emotionally attached to my dog, and I speak to her at length every day. Sorry.
You don't apologize.
When I left home this morning, I said to her, Daddy's going to work. You have to watch the house, protect the house. Daddy be home soon,
You don't apologize for that.
She understood every word I said. Anyway.
They do.
You want to eat cicadas, as we say in Spanish, buen provecho. Good appetite. Enjoy yourself. But, sewer rat might taste like pumpkin pie. Anyway. And my Pepper will never know. Now, this next story, I want to confess that before we get into this, I have purchased the book. I am going to read it this weekend, but I have not read the book. And this is a new book put out by Andrew Ward called The Art of Marijuana Etiquette, a Sophisticated Guide to the High Life. Obviously, a play on words. I love the title of this book. I bought it because I want to read it. And evidently, it's an add-on, and I bought this book, too, to another book by an author named Lizzie Post, whose link we all also provide in the description, called Higher Etiquette. Again, a play on words. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to read them both. But I'm trying to think of what the hell are they talking about. It's like, here's the first thing I thought of. The pinky out when you drink. Mm-hmm. Hey, this is how I drink my tea. I really don't drink my tea like that. But that kind of. When I was a kid, my mother sent me to cotillion. Mm-hmm. Cotillion was hours and hours of ballroom dancing. Which, by the way, I detested as a child. Now I love that I know how to ballroom dance because when I go to parties, I'm always popular. But when you're a child, you think, fuck me.
Opposite. I loved ballroom dancing.
Oh, God. Well, see, the girls would, but the boys just thought, and forgive me for this, but we thought it was awfully gay. And I know. I'm just telling you, this is contextual. I wouldn't say this today, but when I was 9 years old, my mother was schlepping me in my little suit to cotillion. It didn't seem amusing to me. However, it paid dividends. But the girls, you're right. They always loved it. But we also sat down and learned how to use which fork and all that kind of crap.
When I was going over the script last night, we were talking about what possibly that meant, like stoner's etiquette.
Yeah. So what is it? Fill me in.
I mean, do you have friends that you smoke with, stoner friends? So I think maybe... I don't know if the book is particularly referring to what I think stoner's etiquette is.
Well, that's why I confess I haven't read it. I just want to get a little feel. So
I actually have that book on my Kindle, and I was reading it a little tiny bit this morning, and it's more of I guess they consider it more of a comedy That book.
So it's not really
like if you purchase it on Amazon, it's the category it's in is like comical for some reason.
I read on a Kindle too. I love my Kindle.
But I don't think it's a joke. I think the guy's like kind of being serious about what he's talking about. But it's like stoner's etiquette. So like if you go to someone's house and you have weed and they have weed, it's kind of like bowl for bowl or dab for dab.
Okay, so
I don't know what he means by stoner's etiquette,
I'm
but
throw
like
a little boomer wisdom in on this one.
Okay.
Let's put marijuana aside just for a moment. When you go out with, tell me if you experience. I want to know how you, as a millennial, experience this as opposed to me as a boomer.
Okay.
When I go out with friends, we will never include the guy in the group ever again that wants to whip out the calculator and figure out how much his was out of the check. In other words, if Eric and I go out together, right, and the bill is $20 and we're going to tip the waitress $4, 20%, okay, I'll say to Eric, Venmo me $12 and I'll put it on my card. End of it. 50-50. We don't sit there and figure out, like, what did you have? Right. What did you drink?
Now, if we had Tim with us and Tim was like, oh, bro, we got to figure this out.
Yeah. I got news for you. Tim ain't coming again.
There's a lot of opinions on that.
Yeah, I don't like that. The boomer school goes like that. I was raised in a family that I swear to God, waitresses love to see us coming because all the men, like when all the families would get together for the big family, like go out for Chinese food or Italian food or something, they would be tipping the waitress in advance to give them the check at the end. Okay, so I come from the pick up the tab family. I almost instinctively pick up tabs. I've been trained to do this all my life. But when I go out with friends that are regular friends, and eventually we get to the point where it's your turn, my turn. Like every Sunday I have breakfast with my friend Mike, and it's your turn, my turn. And we don't sit there and figure out this week you had this, and last week you had this, and this week the bill was $38.22, and next week the bill is $42.21. And we don't, it comes out in the end.
Right.
So I think weed should be the same way. Like if I have weed and you have weed, I'll just put it on the table and enjoy yourself.
So how does the millennials do it?
We do it just like that. It's similar, but there's opinions. Like there are those few people that think that, if I give you a dab, you should give me a dab. But it's kind of like a friend. Like if a friend asks me for $10, I'm not going to expect that friend to give me $10 back when they have $10, like to pay me back. But if I need $10, I'm going to go to that friend and I'm going to be like, hey man, can I have $10? It's like, just as giving as me, like, if you give to me, I'm going to give to you. But like, I agree with you. If you invite Tim and Tim's like, hey, I only got a salad. It cost me $4.
Yeah, I have a neighbor upstairs who happens to be a butterista. What do you call the guy that works the bud
tender?
Sorry, butterista. What the fuck?
That's a funny word. I like that. Butterista.
Butterista. Sounds like someone selling butter at
something.
Safeway in New York.
Yeah. I'd go to a coffee shop.
I'm a butterista from New York.
Bud.
Anyway. So he gets, I get a lot of freebies because I'm the Silver Stoner. He gets a lot of freebies because he works as a bud tender. Why don't I get that word? So we share shit all the time. But sometimes it's stuff that he's bought or I bought because we don't get enough that we smoke so much weed. So anyway, his name is Todd. Todd and I don't sit there and figure it out. Like the other day, Todd came over and I was out of flour, and I love flour, and I didn't feel like vaping. I wanted to hit some flour. And he has some beautiful lemon something or other that he had brought home from the flower shop, which is a local dispensary here in Phoenix. And so I smoked that, and I had some stuff from Drip, which is I had some dab, and I had a whole bunch of samples that I had collected, and I gave him a few of my dabs. I mean, it was like, but I didn't sit there, and he didn't. We just I just felt like okay.
I always share my weed. I actually enjoy having weed, so I can share it.
It's why I'm constantly handing you my vape as we get together from time to time. I'm a big believer in share.
Sharing is caring.
Plus, it's the attitude of prosperity.
I don't think that's ever not going to be true.
It's funny you should say that because I think that your generation gets it on every level except economically when it comes to this. And I don't want to change the subject, but we live in a world of abundance. We're not going to run out of weed. Weed is called weed because it's a fucking weed. Okay? It grows like a fucking weed. Now, the guys who really get into it, like some of our guests we've had, like our friend Duran, was it Duran? Dyron, sorry, I mispronounced it. Dyron, like he really understood, here's how you sex the plant and here's how you grow the plant and, you put the black soil over this soil and that's great. But the truth is you can throw it in the backyard under a shade and the fucking thing will grow.
Yeah.
Okay, it won't grow to the same quality, but it'll still get you high.
Probably won't taste good.
No, but you'll get high. And I mean, anyway, I'm not going to go off into that story. Back to marijuana etiquette. We went right off. I went right off. It's my fault. Is there seriously, I guess?
I do, because I do think there is such thing, because I've had friends that I love smoking with, and then I have friends that I don't like smoking with. Like, if they always expect me to provide, I'm probably not going to smoke with them anymore. Like, if they never, ever, ever, share,
I take it to the parties. Like, if I go to a party, okay, and I brought a case of beer, there's always the guy who drinks my fucking beer. Yeah,
well, and that gets real old real fast, right?
And he's the same guy. Where I go,
invite him again.
Now I figured it out. It's called bring your own cooler. Okay?
Right.
So now my cooler's right next to me, and you're not getting any.
I just kind of swallow that. If I have someone over that's what we call in my family an advantage taker. Okay, literally is the family term we use. We think this one's an advantage taker, that one's an advantage taker. They're just never reinvited. You quietly got it out that day and you're polite and nice, and they leave thinking that you like them, but you never call them again.
Yeah, I'm never rude to anybody. What I'm thinking is you just stop hanging out with that person. You stop inviting them over for your.
And as you're walking down the pathway, walking your dog, and they say to you, "Hey, can I drop? You got any weed?" And you say, "No." Even if you're ass deep in it, I haven't gotten to the dispensary lately. I'm sorry. That's it. Don't make a fight out of it. But what else? We
should take this up in the private community. Identify the mooch.
Identify the mooch. Let's identify the mooch. Let's do it. Let's unmask celebrities we suspect of being terrible mooches.
I have a friend who claims he's never had to buy his own cigarettes, but he always has a cigarette. So he wouldn't be is the definition of a mooch. Now, he's not like a friend. I don't hang out with him or anything, but it's just someone I know, but I don't have beef with him. So what do you call those people?
Well, I go to Yiddish. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a Yiddish. I can't help it because I was raised in that culture. There's a great Yiddish word for this. It's called a schnorrer. Okay, SCHNORER, schnorrer is how it's.
Schnorrer.
We just pronounce it schnorrer.
Schnorrer.
A schnorrer is a leech. Is the guy that shows up for dinner uninvited, the guy that walks into your house and goes to the refrigerator without being asked, the guy that's always hustling a loan that he's never going to pay back, not ever. And just like you, by the way, when I loan 20 little things, you need a 10, I don't keep track of it, but I do kind of secretly keep track of, are they as generous with me back on the day that exactly.
You just make mental note of it.
Right. I don't expect the 20 back, but when the day comes that I need something, like I'm out of coffee and he's a neighbor of mine and I go over, yo, bro, can I get some coffee? Gee, I really don't have enough for me and you both. Fuck that guy. Okay, you only get one. I don't give him 3 strikes on that one. If you aren't essentially generous, goodbye.
Don't we all have the list and they've been added?
So
you're on the list.
You're on the and you're off the special friends list. And okay, Tech Mastery, you know that I am almost reflexively generous, right? So like why would people not? I mean, so much easier to live life.
Where did that come from? Where they didn't do that?
Were
they offended by someone?
They're the same people who saved their way to wealth. So, who
saved their way to wealth.
There's 2 ways to get rich. Okay, and before I really vomited it out in the real estate crash of 2009, and I'm recovering. I was really wealthy. So let me tell you, there's 2 ways to get rich. One is the rich dad, poor dad way, which is the one, people who read that book are always schnorrers, okay? It's the one where you penny pinch your way to wealth. You make this much money and you're going to pay yourself first in the savings account and you're going to invest that money this way, and you're not going to buy anything except you're going to put this away because you know that when you're 60, I've never liked this system, okay? And I've never actually known anybody that actually did it. I've known people that claimed to have done it, but you always find out they got rich because their house appreciated in value and they never saved a fucking nickel. Or they had a huge 401k at work and the company did it for them and they didn't have shit to do with it. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but those are the schnorrers. Those are the people that are looking to pinch every foot. I'm trying to think. My ex-father-in-law, okay, God rest his soul, he's dead. Okay, so I'm not going to offend him now. This is, you can't offend a dead person. First time I met him, he lived in a little town in Iowa called Wellman. It was near the Amanas, like the Amana appliances. Those are actually colonies of Mennonites. And that's where they build Amana appliances. And they have these family-style restaurants where you go and you sit down, and the Mennonites just bring you food. It's terrific. If you ever have a chance to do it, it's like awesome. Anyway, first time we're out, the whole family goes out, and the bill's like $100. It's not very expensive. And my father-in-law says, I'll leave the tip. Because I said, I'll pick up the check. And he says, I'll leave the tip. I said, sure, no problem. So I pay the check. He left you ready for this? 50 cents.
Oh.
So I took out of my wallet $30, laid it on the table, and my father-in-law laid into me. What are you doing? I said, I'm covering up the embarrassment of that 50-cent tip. Needless to say, we did not get off on a good foot on this one. But, it was embarrassing.
I actually don't like people that don't tip.
Well, you ran a restaurant.
I used to.
It's just that all of us have, unless you come from a lot of money, everyone's worth serving at some point. It's like the universal thing that you fall into when you have nothing else to go on when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's kind of fun at that stage in life. A lot of drugs in a restaurant. Anyways.
I was going to say, I fired a lot of people over drugs.
Oh, well, Read Anthony Bourdain's book, by the way. Books. Anthony Bourdain, God rest his soul, was, in addition to being a terrific personality, was a great author. Have you read any of his stuff? Like Restaurant Confidential, his big book that made him famous?
Mm-mm.
It's all about drugs in the restaurants.
He was on CNN, right?
Yeah, and then he killed himself not long ago. And that's a good example of, he looked like he led a charmed life, and clearly he had demons. So you never know. These people that you think that you'd like to be like them, you don't know the price they're paying for that, right? It's like you'll say to yourself, gee, I wish I had the money of Jeff Bezos. Yeah, do you want to work 100 hours a week and be a geek? Because there are trade-offs in life. There's no he did it. He does it every day. I'm sure he lives and breathes it. And believe me, he's got pressure you can't even imagine. Before you wish to be this, you have to understand, okay, let's move on. Fuck that. I'm getting the move on thing. Okay, I think we beat the shit out of that one until we both read the book all the way through. What do you say?
Yeah.
We'll come back to it. We'll do that one on Too High for YouTube, because in our private community, which, by the way, if you have not joined yet or entered the giveaway, I'm not going to call it a raffle because there's no obligation. You sign up for 14 days for free. You go into the private community. You love what you see. And if you don't pay the $4.20. But you get an entry for the free PS5 anyway. And by the way, if you do let the $4.20 roll over and you're going to love the community, it's worth every penny times 100. You get 5 more entries automatically. And then if you send anybody else to join us, because stoners love stoners, you get 5 more every time someone else signs up. So become a part of our private community and get the content. If you're having fun now, you can't imagine how much fun we're going to have when the proverbial demonetization gods aren't watching us. Anyway, God bless private servers, right? Okay, I got to drink those. All right. Last story. June 12th, and I'm sorry I missed this, we were caught up in other stuff, was Loving Day. Loving Day is the day when interracial marriage became legal everywhere in the United States. It had been legal in different places all along, but obviously, like the Deep South, things like that, it was not. But in 1958, the year after I was born, Richard Mildred Loving, it is not, I love their last name, because when I first saw this, when I was checking over news, I thought, Loving Day, that makes sense. It's actually their last name. It was Richard Mildred Loving. He was white, she was black, and they were the first couple that was allowed, they were the last illegal couple. It was their case that challenged. They took it to court. They got to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court struck down all that shit. It became nationally legal. Yay for the Lovings. Yay for Loving Day. And I'm just ashamed that I lived for a year in a world where that wasn't true, because I was born in 1957. However, I'm not personally responsible for it. I was one. Okay? One. Just want to point that out. Okay.
You were 1 year old. There was nothing you could do. You probably didn't even know what anybody was talking about.
When Chloe, I keep bringing up Chloe today. When Chloe was a little girl, I'll never forget. One day I was telling her she shouldn't do something, and Chloe was so smart. She is so smart. And she just decided she didn't listen, and it was too complicated for her. I was explaining something. She went, Daddy, I'm two, Daddy. Okay.
She's like, look, I'm two. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're like, let it go, Daddy. To this day, she sort of does that to me the same way. She's a flat spot in her head from going, But anyway.
I love the people that tap their forehead. They're just...
Chloe's kind of a full palm. It's like, I'll say some really boomery thing, and she'll,
Yes.
I can't help it,
And now your forehead's red. Okay.
Is it red? Yeah. I did smack the crap out of myself. I really did.
I hit it pretty hard.
He wasn't.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why I did it that hard. I wanted to be authentic, I guess.
You wanted them to hear.
I wanted them to hear the slap. But now I feel like I've been brained. I probably have a light concussion.
Oh.
That's it? No, it's fine. Okay, now it's time to move out of that news. I want to go to my great Silver Stoner advice, my great fucking Silver Stoner advice. Okay, today's topic is pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. Now, I bring this up, okay, this is like the best lesson to learn. Remember I told you I was once rich, and I was rich because I did it all by my little lonesome. So, you want to learn a little something, how to get wealthy on yourself, and listen to what I have to say. Right now, the stock market, the commodities market, the gold market, the silver market, the cryptocurrency markets, they're all going up like rocket ships, okay? This is not sustainable, okay? And a lot of you watching me have made a lot of money on paper from this stuff. Take the profit. Pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. So let's say that you have a Bitcoin account, and last year you heard me on another podcast when it was at 9,000 saying sell the house and buy Bitcoin. And today at 40,000, you're sitting there looking at your 4 times your money, and you're thinking it's going to 250,000 by the end of the year, and it might. But leaving your original investment in, but takes the profit off the table and put it into something else, like a bank account that doesn't fluctuate, is a good idea, because it could also drop to zero tomorrow, and pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. What goes up goes down. I'm not particularly worried about cryptocurrency, but it's wildly fluctuating all the time. Take some profit. The stock market is at an all-time high when the economy underneath it is fucked up from this COVID mess, and we don't even know what's going to happen.
And this is not legal advice.
This is not. Look, I don't care where you invest. I'm not selling you anything. You can take this advice and talk to your own advisors, is what I'm telling you. But if you have an advisor that knows what he or she is doing, they will say to you, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. Remember the 5 most important words in investing anything. Be happy with a profit. Be happy with a profit. It's so simple. Don't worry about after it's like people today, they've made a lot of money on their house. Houses are very inflated. And they don't want to really sell because it'll probably go up some more. Probably it will. But what if it doesn't? Because it's crashed before, guys. It crashed in 2008. It wasn't that long ago. Okay? Look. Take the money off the table. Take the money off the table. Put it in your pockets where you can't lose it. That's what banks are for. Banks aren't for making money. Banks are for protecting money. Okay. I think I beat the shit out of that one. That's it. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up for today?
No.
B-woman? No?
B-woman.
B-woman. I think I'm going to call you B-woman.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm okay with that one, I guess.
Well,
you're calling me B-woman.
Yeah, you're B. I was going to call you Big B. Those of you who don't know this, but Bethany is exceptionally tall. Okay, I mean she's tall. She's either as tall or taller than me. I can't tell, but she's definitely
taller than me.
Well, yeah, but you're.
I'm 6'2".
And I used to be 6'3", but I think now I'm 6'2", so I think we're looking eye to eye. But having gravity gets you with age. Believe me, I'm just saying. But I think that B-woman sounds better.
Okay.
And just so you know how much I love this particular. I call my ex-wife the T-woman. So, and you know that I love my ex-wife, so that's me there.
B-woman. B-woman. That's a good nickname. I've had a couple of weird ones, so I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll go with B-woman. Okay, so from the B-woman and I'm Uncle Herb. I want to thank you for joining us today. As always, we'll see you tomorrow. And until next time, peace out.
Peace.
You're listening to the Silver Stoner Show.